Shout it with me from the rooftop. Taxation is theft. Many lawmakers, well, they're in on the grift, unfortunately. For example, the White House has been hoping to hire 87,000 new IRS agents, but House Republicans passed a bill to shut that nonsense down. Unfortunately, the battle isn't over because the White House is vowing to veto it. Obviously, it will not pass the Senate, not right now. One freshman lawmaker promising to keep up the fight no matter what happens or who's in power. And just like my luscious dress says, she also agrees taxation is theft. And look who's here, newly elected Florida Republican Congresswoman Paulina Luna. Welcome to the show, Congresswoman.
Thank you for having me on, Kennedy.
So let's do it. Let's abolish the IRS. I think that's a great idea.
You know, it was so interesting to see how many people were actually triggered by this statement. But, you know, I stand by that. When the federal government takes your tax dollars and shows nothing for the benefit of the American people, that's wrong. It's irresponsible, but it should be illegal. You know, in last year's budget alone, if I could just go over some things, over $41 million was allocated to an anti-deportation group to benefit illegals that, might I add, do not pay taxes. Over $240 million was allocated to the EPA to use to sue American coal miners. And that's just a fraction of some of this crazy spending that we're seeing. So in my opinion, until they can get it under control, I will hold true to this statement. And frankly, I don't like paying higher taxes, and I'm sure you don't either.
No, but you bring up the best point, and that is return on investment. You know, they say, oh, rich people don't pay their taxes. Talk to any rich people. They will tell you they pay handsomely, but what are they getting in return? What is anybody getting in return? They're going to double the size of the IRS. There are 82,000 people who work at the IRS currently. They want to add 87,000 more. And, you know, as we pointed out on this show, they're not answering the phone saying, hey, how's it going? How can we help? No, they're coming after you. It is the world's largest collection agency.
Absolutely. And it's being weaponized against those that really are struggling the most right now. So a lot of those agents are looking into people that might have second jobs because they can't afford what's happening right now with inflation. But more importantly, with what we saw over the last couple of years, I don't think that there's any question in the mind of the American people that some of our federal agencies have been weaponized, to include the IRS. Look at what happened with President Trump's tax returns. And I frankly think that if we can't actually pull ourselves back out of this thought that big government and taxes will solve the problem, then we're only part of that problem. And so I'm hoping to bring some common sense back to Washington and really hold my fellow lawmakers accountable and saying that, look, we can no longer continue to raise taxes. We can no longer continue spending the way that we are. And if I have to take a hardline stance against that, I'm going to.
And, you know, it seems pretty clear at this point there are several institutions that have to be audited. I would start with the Fed and the Pentagon. So, you know, I know that you are a Republican, and there are a lot of people who say, well, if you want to cut defense spending, you hate the troops. But that's not necessarily the case.
Well, if I can just go into some of the negotiations that happened over this past week, obviously we want to look into streamlining the budget. But to be clear, I mean, holding some of these external organizations that really charge the DoD an arm and a leg in order to provide services is something that we could be getting obviously a better deal on. But to be clear, when we're talking about some of these streamlining of the budget, we're not necessarily addressing the defense programs. Right now, what we're really focusing on is some of these external spending. For example, the $4.5 million that was allocated to a poetry museum in Latvia. Why are we sending our tax dollars over there right now when we're really struggling? And so this is what I hope to really address and bring to the forefront for the American people.
Yes, poetry is wonderful. Museums are really a gift. However, I agree with you, not necessarily under the purview of the U.S. federal government, especially paying for such things overseas. A lot of things would be nice, but we cannot afford those things. We're going to go broke. The thing that I am heartened by is there are other new, especially freshman lawmakers, particularly in the House, who share your passion for cutting spending. I hope you all stick together and stick it to the statists.
I think we will.
All right, Congresswoman, thank you so much for your time. Best of luck. Keep us posted.
Thank you.